Hello everyone and welcome to the Severed Vampire Hand. As usual, I do 2 coats of acrylic paint to start with. I just did any blue on his hand, obviously I think that's Pthalo Blue, and I did yellow ochre on the fingernails and any red on the dismembered part at the top there. So very similar to the severed foot, I am now going to cover the paint with the Pan Pastel Burnt Sienna tint, and I do quite a few layers of this one just to get the coverage. You could probably paint it white or keep it white, but I wanted to paint it blue because, well, severed things have a blue tinge to it, so I just wanted to make it harder for me, really, but I wanted the blue tint underneath the skin. I haven't slowed this one down because it's exactly the same as what I just did. It's the burnt sienna tint and another fixative layer. And yet again another layer of burnt sienna tint and fixative. When you spray fixative, it dulls the colour a little bit, so that's why it does take a few layers to get the coverage that you want. And just for something different, another layer of burnt sienna tint and fixative. And another layer of burnt sienna tint. I didn't add much pink to this one because I wanted it to be a vampire hand, and well, vampire hands are ugly and white, and so I start with permanent red here, just going over the blood bits, and then I bring in the permanent red extra dark and do the shadow bits. And here is another layer of burnt sienna tint, and then I do permanent red and permanent red extra dark on the blood again. And then after that is a layer on top of the hand of red iron oxide tint, just add a teeny tiny bit of pink to it. And you can see that you can still see the blue paint that I did, and I actually like that because it makes it look like a dead hand. So this is the layer of red iron oxide tint. And here are the two reds for the blood. And I use yellow oxide shade to go over most of the fingernails, and then yellow oxide extra dark to go over where the fingernails touch the skin, so the shadow parts. So this is the yellow oxide extra dark. It looks green, but it says it's yellow oxide. So like I've said before, it's just all layering. So this is another layer of burnt sienna tint. And back to the permanent red extra dark for the shadowy parts of the blood. And just adding some permanent red to make a little bit of highlights there. And just finishing off with the fingernails with the yellow oxide colours. Now if you're going to add blood like I did to the top of the hand, you don't necessarily have to do a great deal on the top there, but I do like to make it look nice just in case, you know, some bits aren't covered in blood. So on this layer I start with the red iron oxide tint, just add a little bit more pink but not much, and then I do the burnt sienna tint, and then the reds on the blood and the yellow oxides on the fingernails. And so now it's another layer of burnt sienna tint and red iron oxide tint, and I'm using the Pan Pastels tool just to get it on a little bit thicker. And another layer of the burnt sienna tint using the Pan Pastels tool. And now I am using the violet extra dark to go in the little creases there in between the fingers and where the skin is pulled tight and all the little divot holes at the bottom of the hand. And just blending all of that purple in with another layer of burnt sienna tint. And now I'm just adding another layer on the creases and that of the violet extra dark. And then blending it all together with another layer of burnt sienna tint. And now I'm using the Pthalo Blue extra dark just to go over where I did the purple because I wanted it purple and bluish, so I thought I'd mix the two together. And this is a layer of red iron oxide tint just to add a little bit more pink to it. And surprise, surprise, another layer of burnt sienna tint. some more burnt sienna tint. And the Phthalo Blue Extra Dark. And then using the Phthalo Blue Extra Dark, I start putting dots on the hand just to make it look like little popped capillaries or little spots, like when you cut someone's hand off, apparently they have that. And I'm just adding a few violet extra dark spots as well. And just blending everything together with another layer of burnt sienna tint. And the Phthalo Blue Extra Dark again, going over the creases and the tight skin and the little divots. And just adding some more dots of the violet extra dark. And starting off with another layer of red iron oxide tint. And just repeating what I did before, the Phthalo Blue Extra Dark and the Violet Extra Dark. And now I'm just adding some permanent red extra dark dots. And just blending everything I just did with a layer of burnt sienna tint. And just doing another final layer of the blood with the permanent red extra dark and the permanent red, and then going over the fingernails with the yellow oxides again. And I just get the yellow oxide here and use it as a highlight in the middle of the fingernail. Now to make the blood, I use the water texture gel from Vallejo and transparent Venetian Red paint, and I mix it together and then I just goop it all over where I want the blood. I added some blood to the fingernails because he is a vampire after all, and I imagine if you're trying to kill him and chop off his hand, he'd certainly take a chunk out of you as well. I wanted the hand to be a lot more paler than the foot that I did because it was a vampire's hand and, well, they're usually pale. So I hope you enjoy this Halloween vampire hand.